You're going to have such a period in your life where it seems like it's not working. You're going to have doubts. You're going to have a lot of trials and tribulations and challenges. And everybody has what's called a turn back moment. You always have a moment in your life where the direction you're going, you will have to make a decision to keep going or you turn back. The sad thing is, the average person turns back. But think about this. If you're going somewhere and you turn back, you can never get there.
But the time is now, man. And what I mean by that is we can no longer put off what should be done today till tomorrow. We can't no longer put off what should have been done yesterday until tomorrow. The time is now. The time is now to go for it. The time is now to stop settling for less. The time is now to get the most out of your life.
The beautiful people that we are, we're all jacked up in so many ways. That's the beauty of us.
I want you to know that you can be whatever you've been envying. Instead of you looking at someone else's success, engaging and wondering, how did they do it and why haven't I done it? Instead, look at them and say, if they did it, I can do it. Look at them and realize that they are the preview and you are the full movie. The greatness that is in you hasn't been tested yet. That's why you don't have a testimony.
The idea of reaching this golden year, it's a very flawed idea because it's an idea that you're going to work hard, but then you're going to reach the finish line. But there's no finish line. No. It doesn't exist.
Your mind is a very strange thing. As soon as you give it an aim, a genuine aim, it'll reconfigure the world in keeping with that aim. You have to be genuine about the aim, but once you aim, the world will reconfigure itself around that aim.
Success comes down to doing the obvious thing for an extraordinary period of time without convincing yourself you're smarter than you are.
I don't care if you have to inch your ways day by day. Even if you have to get down and it hurts and it's hard and nobody can see what you're really going through. If you don't quit, the pit will become your platform.
Being from a disciplined family does not make you a disciplined person. What makes you a disciplined person is choosing to be disciplined.
The accomplishments of your past are not going to predict your future. The rent is due every single day. That record that you have, it's great, but the rent is due every single day. There have been millions of people who have come before you and accomplished even more than that and didn't reach their full potential.
Your brain is the most powerful weapon in the world. If you can't control your own brain and your brain controls you, you're fucked. You got to tell your brain where you want to go and how you want to go and how you want to get there. You got to control it. If not, it's over.
There's one side of pain that's the suffering and the discomfort side of pain, because that hurts. You remember what that felt like. But then there's another side of pain that's called effort. It's called glory. It's called, if you can find a way to push through pain, there's something greater on the other side of it. And if you never tap into it, it's because the first time you felt it, you backed off.
A lot of people that are scared of their ability to do something that's difficult. They're scared of whether or not like you see someone who's doing something that's really tough to do and you go, man, I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I could force myself to be disciplined. I don't know if I could force myself to take that kind of action. Well, if you do force yourself to take that kind of action, you don't have that question anymore. That question, I don't know if I can do it. Well, you're doing it. So you obviously can do it. Can you do it tomorrow? Well, you did it today. Or can you do it tomorrow? Just do it.
Adopt some responsibility. Put your life together. Develop a vision.
how to turn nothing into something. First, to turn nothing into something, you start with ideas and imagination. Now, it's hard to call ideas and imagination nothing. So imagination, we call it nothing simply because nothing in terms of being tangible, but it is so real, it's almost real. So the first step is to imagine the possibilities. Imagine the possibilities.
Get out there and go and do something. Just go. And then in the middle of doing it, it'll become easy. Even if it's not hard, even if it's not easy, even if it's hard, it's easier than not doing it and wishing that you had done it.
Dedicate your life to a cause larger than yourself. See, if you dedicate your life to a cause larger than yourself, you're not following the crowd. The quality of life is often determined by that to which the individual is dedicated. If the dedication of the life is vague and diffuse, the quality is apt to be poor and weak. There is much to be said for the intensity of life.
I think one of the hardest things to hear after you don't get your way is keep working. But it's also one of the only solutions to be successful. You're not going to get your way most of the time in your life. Just keep working. Hard work pays off, no one tells you when. You'll never know the true feeling of accomplishment if you've never faced a setback. You'll never know the true meaning of confidence if you've never had to bounce back from anything. Just keep working. You're not getting what you want, keep working. You are getting what you want, keep working.
Failures are a prerequisite to who we want to become. I cannot stress that enough. So sometimes something that seems to be a negative thing, seems to be a bad thing that is happening to us, or even a season of dormant, or even a season where we have to sit back and start to recalibrate, recoil the spring, so to speak, reconfigure where we're at. Sometimes that's right where we need to be.
Perfection does not exist. Doesn't exist, man. You should try your hardest to get things right. In moments where you got them wrong, figure out how to never get them wrong again.
90% of the time we think the same thoughts as we thought the day before. The challenge with that is the thought that you keep thinking over and over again becomes belief. The process of change really requires becoming conscious of your unconscious thoughts, which means just because you have that thought doesn't necessarily mean it's the truth. You have that thought and you accept it, you believe it, you surrender to it without analyzing it. That thought will lead to the same choice, which will lead to the same behavior, which will create the same experience, which then will produce the same emotion. The same emotions then drive our very same thoughts.
Hear people say, if you believe it, then you can achieve it. And the problem with that is they're leaving out the most important part of the equation. And that part is work, action, actually doing something. That's what you have to do to achieve anything. Yeah, you gotta believe it, but you better get the work done.
But usually we react. We have pain, we have suffering, we react, and we react about get the out of here. It's those people who are able to control that feeling of flight and say, no, motherfucker, there's a way through this. It's gonna end. It's gonna end, but we don't know that. We don't think that. At that time, it's gonna last forever.
In life, you have a critical option. You can take a stand in your life, or you can follow the crowd. See, people who follow the crowd, their lives are not focused. They're not immersed in anything. People who take a stand, they're living a life that has some power, a life of achievement, a life that has some meaning. People that are taking a stand in life, they are consciously involved in a process to design a life of substance. People who are following the crowd, these are people that they're just doing what everybody else is doing. So that's a crowded road over there.
You don't want to judge who you are so harshly that you just destroy yourself and everything is cast into the pit. You want to take a look at yourself and say, look, you know, you're a person among persons and you have intrinsic worth and You have your flaws, your sins, but there's the becoming problem. It's like, well, most of you is still in the becoming phase. And so why wouldn't encouragement be the hallmark of love? It's like, get the hell up. Get your act together.
But my thesis in life is it doesn't matter who you are today. It certainly doesn't matter how you were born. The only thing that matters is who you want to become and the price you're willing to pay to get there.
The way you've defined yourself really controls you. And so it can be to your advantage. So if your thing is I find the way, you're going to find the way. If your thing is I always end up losing, or people hate me, or I put things off, or whatever your identity is, if it's a negative identity, that is what's controlling your life.
I know I can control my effort. I can't control everybody's effort. I can control my attitude. I can't control everybody's attitude. I can control me keeping my word. I can't control everybody keeping their word.
And they'll tell you you did the best you could. No, they'll say that the deck was stacked against you. And they'll say it's not your fault. And they'll tell you it's okay to stop. It's okay to settle. It's okay to give up. And that is the instinct you need to fight. You need to push back, to smash into the ground.
We create what we focus on. Where focus goes, energy flows, but most people are focusing on what they have to do, not what they can do. They're focusing on what is versus what they're here to create. What makes you a leader is you see things as they are, but then you see it better than it is, and you make it the way you see it. You come up with that vision and you make it happen.
As a whatever you want to be, you've got to get so good at that thing that when people see you do it, you make them experience the most potent human emotion, and that is awe. To get that good is a terrifying journey of self-discovery and confronting who you really are. Because you cannot make change until you acknowledge where you're actually at.
A person who thinks all the time has nothing to think about except thought. So he loses touch with reality and lives in a world of illusion.
And we all have this feeling that I came into this world. Now it isn't true. We came out of it, like a leaf comes out of the tree.
The birds of the field can't do it. No other life form can imagine and create something from nothing. Have faith and then build it and make it real. Only humans. It's an extraordinary gift. Depends on how often you use it.
It's the dream that spurs a person. It's not education. The dream spurs you to get an education. But the dream drives everybody. If you could not fail, what would you be if you just knew you couldn't fail and you could be it?
You are not your past. You're you. You're you right now. Like the past you might have done some things you wish you hadn't done. Don't dwell on that. You learn from it, that's fine, but don't dwell on it. Just keep moving. Keep moving. You know, use it as fuel. Say never again. You know, I get what I did wrong, but don't think that you're that person that made those mistakes. You're the person who's learned, you know, and to have that attitude is a really important thing.